watching him get pulled into a massive factory machine. Ethan and Luke were 16 years old. They were best friends, but they were very different. Ethan was a good guy. He was quiet, polite, and liked to stay safe. Luke was the bad guy. He liked to break the rules. He loved danger. They met online. They played a game on Roblox called MM2. They played it every single day for hours. They were a great team in the game, but real life is not a game. In real life, you cannot respawn. Luke's father worked at a huge factory. He was a manager. One night, in October 2021, Luke's father came home very late. He was tired. He dropped his heavy factory keys on the kitchen table and went to sleep. Luke saw the keys. A bad idea came into his head. At 2 a.m., Ethan was sleeping. His phone rang. It was Luke. Ethan answered. Luke said, "Ethan, get up. I have the keys to the factory. My dad is sleeping. Let's go inside. It is empty." Ethan was scared. He said, "No, Luke, that is dangerous." But Luke laughed. He called Ethan a baby. He said, "I am going, with or without you." Ethan did not want his best friend to go alone. So, he put on his shoes and sneaked out of his house. They met in the dark street. They rode their bikes to the factory. The factory was huge and black. It looked like a monster in the dark. The air smelled terrible. It smelled like old iron and cold air. Luke walked to the heavy metal door at the back. He put the key in the lock. He turned it. Click. The door opened. They walked inside. It was completely dark. Ethan turned on his phone flashlight. The light was weak. The factory was quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, Ethan heard a sound. Footsteps. Outside the window, a bright light moved across the glass. It was a security guard. He had a big guard dog. The dog started barking. "Hide!" Luke whispered. They ran down a dark hallway. They opened the first door they found. They went inside and shut the door quickly. They held their breath. The guard walked past the door. He did not stop. They were safe. But they had a new problem. It was freezing. They were inside a giant storage freezer. The temperature was 0. Ethan's teeth started shaking. "Let's get out," Ethan said. Luke turned to open the door. He pushed the handle. It did not move. He pushed harder. The door was locked from the outside. Panic hit them. They were in a freezing box. They were going to die from the cold. Ethan started kicking the door. Luke hit the door with his shoulder. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Bam! The door broke open. They fell onto the floor outside. They were breathing hard, but the nightmare was just starting. They walked deeper into the factory. The floor was slippery. They found the main processing room. It was huge. In the middle of the room, there was a giant machine. It was the main industrial grinder. It was massive. It was made of thick steel. It had a tall metal ladder going up to the top. Inside the top, there were huge metal teeth spinning in the dark. Luke looked at the machine. He smiled. He loved it. "Look at this monster," Luke said. He walked to the control panel on the wall. The panel had a huge green button. "Luke, do not touch anything," Ethan said. Ethan was shaking. "Let's go home." But Luke did not listen. He raised his hand. He hit the big green button. Rumble! The floor started to shake. The walls shook. The machine woke up. The sound was deafening. It sounded like a jet engine. Inside the machine, the giant metal blades started spinning. They spun so fast they became a blur. The noise was horrible. "Turn it off!" Ethan screamed, but the noise was too loud. Luke could not hear him. Luke just laughed. He walked to the metal ladder. He started climbing up. He wanted to look down into the spinning blades. "Luke, get down! It is not safe!" Ethan yelled. Ethan ran to the ladder to stop him, but Luke was already at the top. Luke stood at the top. He looked down into the deadly machine. He took out his phone. He wanted to record a video for his friends. He held the phone out over the open machine, but his hands were still freezing cold from the freezer. They were shaking. The phone slipped from his fingers. It fell. The phone dropped into the grinder. Crash! The metal teeth destroyed the phone in 1 second. Sparks flew into the air. Luke was angry. "My phone!" he yelled. He did a very stupid thing. He leaned over the edge. He tried to look for his phone. He leaned too far. Luke's shoes were wet. The metal ladder was slippery. His foot slipped. He lost his balance. He fell forward. He screamed as his body went over the edge, but he did not fall all the way inside. The thick sleeve of his winter jacket got caught. The heavy metal teeth grabbed the fabric of his jacket. The machine did not stop. It was too strong. It started pulling the jacket. It was pulling Luke down into the dark. "Ethan, help me!" Luke screamed. His voice was full of pure terror. Ethan climbed the ladder as fast as a monkey. He grabbed Luke's legs. Ethan pulled back with all his power. Pull, Ethan! Pull! Luke cried, but the machine was stronger. It was dragging him down, inch by inch. Take off the jacket! Ethan screamed. Unzip it! Luke tried to use his free hand. He pulled the zipper on his chest, but the machine was pulling the fabric too tight. The zipper was completely stuck. It would not move. Luke looked at Ethan. He was crying. Ethan, please! I don't want to die! Help me! Ethan pulled until his hands burned, but his hands were freezing and slippery. He lost his grip on Luke's legs. No! Ethan screamed. He tried to grab him again, but it was too late. The machine pulled Luke hard. In 1 second, Luke was gone. He was pulled completely inside the dark machine. The terrible screaming stopped instantly, but the machine kept working. The loud noise of the spinning metal changed. It sounded heavy. The machine was doing its job. Ethan fell backward off the ladder. He hit the hard floor. He could not stand up. His legs did not work. He crawled on his hands and knees to the control panel. He hit the red stop button. The machine slowly powered down. The spinning stopped. The massive factory was quiet again. Ethan sat on the floor in the dark. He was completely alone. He looked up at the machine. There was no sign of Luke, just the cold, heavy metal. Ethan waited in the dark. 10 minutes passed. It felt like 10 hours. Then, a light flashed at the end of the dark hallway. Someone was coming. Ethan heard heavy boots walking on the floor. It was the security guard. The guard shined his flashlight into the huge room. The light moved across the walls, the floor, and then it stopped on Ethan. The guard walked closer. He saw the broken freezer door. He looked up at the giant grinder. He looked at Ethan's empty, terrified eyes. The guard did not ask any questions. He pulled a radio from his belt. His hands were shaking. We have a major emergency. Send everyone, now. Soon the factory was full of noise. Red and blue lights flashed through the high windows. Police cars surrounded the building. 10 police officers ran inside, but there was no one to save. There was only an 18-year-old boy sitting on the floor, staring at the wall. A police officer tried to talk to Ethan. Son, what happened? Where is your friend? Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came out. He could only point his shaking finger at the giant machine. A doctor came and put a warm blanket around Ethan. They carried him outside into the cold night air, but Ethan could not look away from the factory door. More police went inside. Then, a special team arrived. They carried heavy tools. They were going to open the machine. Suddenly, a car drove very fast into the parking lot. The brakes screamed. A man jumped out. It was Luke's father, the manager of the factory. He ran toward the police line. Ethan! Luke's father yelled. What are you doing here? Where is Luke? Did he come with you? The police tried to stop him. 2 big officers held him back. Where is my son? He screamed. A police captain walked up to Luke's father. He spoke very quietly. Ethan could not hear the words, but he saw Luke's father fall to his knees. The big man started crying. He screamed at the dark sky. It was a terrible sound, worse than the machine. The police took Ethan to the station. They put him in a small, cold room. A detective came in. He looked very serious. Listen to me, Ethan, the detective said. We know what happened with the machine, but I need the truth. Did you push him? Did you two have a fight? Ethan started crying again. No, he said. His voice was broken. He was my best friend. He dropped his phone. He slipped. The machine grabbed his jacket. I tried to pull him out. I swear I tried. The detective looked at Ethan's hands. He saw the deep red marks from pulling the heavy jacket. The detective took Ethan out of the small room. He walked him down a long hallway. I want to show you something.